Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Anuja Kumar, and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates Semicon India Conference 2022 in Bengaluru, says it is our collective aim to establish India as one of the key partners in global semiconductor supply chains. Prime Minister says despite COVID-19 pandemic, Indian MSME sector is doing well with the support of the government. Inaugurates Global Patidar Business Summit at Surat. Mandate document of National Curriculum Framework launched in Bengaluru. Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari dedicates to the nation 2 NHAI projects in Telangana. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar reaches Bhutan on the second leg of his 2-nation visit, including Bangladesh. U.S. economy shrinks in the first quarter of the year, faces threats from high inflation and rising interest rates. Met Office issues orange alert for severe heat for parts of Rajasthan and Vidarbha region of Maharashtra for next 2 days. In Santosh Trophy football, second semi-final between Manipur and West Bengal to be played at Pioneer Stadium in Manjeri tonight. And in IPL cricket, Punjab Kings to take on Lucknow Super Giants in Pune at 7:30 this evening. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today inaugurated Semicon India Conference 2022 through video conferencing. The 3-day event is taking place in Bengaluru. Speaking on this occasion, the Prime Minister underlined the critical role of semiconductors in today's world and said that our collective aim is to establish India as one of the key partners in global semiconductor supply chains.
Semicon India program aims to provide financial support to companies investing in semiconductors, display manufacturing and design ecosystem. We are aware that in order for a semiconductor ecosystem to flourish, it is necessary to ensure adequate support from the government. Government must be like the end gate. While the industry works hard, the government must work even harder. We will continue to support the industry in future as well.
The Prime Minister underlined 6 reasons for India being an attractive investment destination for semiconductor technologies. The Prime Minister said India is building a digital infrastructure to connect the over 1.3 billion Indians.
Friends, I see 6 reasons for India being an attractive investment destination for semiconductor technology. First, we are building the digital infrastructure to connect over 1.3 billion Indians. You have all heard of India's financial inclusion, banking and digital payment revolution. UPI is the world's most efficient payment infrastructure today. We are using digital technology to transform lives in all sectors of governance, from health and welfare to inclusion and empowerment. We are one of the largest consumers of data per capita, and we continue to grow.
The Prime Minister said that India is using digital technology to transform lives in all sectors of governance, from health and welfare to inclusion and empowerment.
We are paving the way for India to lead the next technology revolution. We are on our way to connect 600,000 villages with broadband. We are investing in developing capacities in 5G, IoT and clean energy technologies. We are working to unleash the next wave of innovation in data, AI and other technologies.
The Prime Minister said India has undertaken wide-ranging reforms for improving the ease of doing business in India.
We have undertaken wide-ranging reforms for improving ease of doing business in India. Last year, we abolished more than 25,000 compliances and gave a push towards auto renewal of licenses. Similarly, digitization is also bringing speed and transparency to the regulatory framework. Today, we have one of the most favorable taxation structure in the world.
Mr. Modi said that India has made heavy investment in skilling and training young Indians for the needs of the 21st century. He said the country has an exceptional semiconductor design talent pool, which makes up to 20% of the world's semiconductor design engineers. He said at a time when humanity was fighting the once-in-a-century pandemic, India was not only improving the health of our people, but also the health of our economy. Mr. Modi acknowledged the need for a government support and assured the audience of the best efforts of the government to provide a conducive environment for business. The three-day conference is being organized to take forward the vision of the Prime Minister to make India a leader in the electronics manufacturing, semiconductor design, manufacturing and innovation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today also inaugurated the Global Patidar Business Summit, GPBS, held at Surat in Gujarat through video conferencing. The three-day Global Patidar Business Summit is being held at Sardar Dham in Surat under Mission 2026 to provide an impetus to socio-economic development of the community. Speaking on this occasion, the Prime Minister said that India has so many resources. We just have to strengthen our self-confidence and spirit of self-reliance for Atmanirbhar Bharat.
आज भारत के पास इतना कुछ है, हमें बस अपने आत्मविश्वास को, आत्मनिर्भरता के अपने जज्बे को मजबूत करना है। ये आत्मविश्वास तभी आएगा जब विकास में सबकी भागीदारी होगी, सबका प्रयास लगेगा। साथियों, बीते 8 सालों में देश में बिजनेस का, उद्यम का, क्रिएटिविटी का एक नया विश्वास जगाने का प्रयास किया जा रहा है। अपनी नीतियां, अपने एक्शन के माध्यम से सरकार का निरंतर प्रयास है कि देश में ऐसा माहौल बने कि सामान्य से सामान्य परिवार का युवा भी एंटरप्रेन्योर बने, उसके सपने देखे, वो एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप पर गर्व करे। मेक इन इंडिया, मेक फॉर द वर्ल्ड, इसको नए भारत की नई संस्कृति बनाने के लिए मैं समझता हूं काम किया जा रहा है।
Mr. Modi said that the production-linked incentive scheme has not only filled the enthusiasm of Make in India in the old sectors, but also created possibilities for the development of new sectors like semiconductors.
आधुनिक कनेक्टिविटी के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के विकास, नए शहरों के निर्माण, पुराने शहरों में स्मार्ट सुविधाएं विकसित करने, नियमों, कायदों, दस्तावेजों, कंप्लायंसेज के बोझ से देश को मुक्त करने और इनोवेशन की, आइडिया की हैंड होल्डिंग, ऐसे सभी कामों पर एक साथ काम किया जा रहा है। मुद्रा योजना आज देश के उन लोगों को भी अपना बिजनेस करने का हौसला दे रही है जो कभी इसके बारे में सोचते भी नहीं थे।
The Prime Minister said that despite the COVID-19 pandemic, our MSME sector is doing well with the support of the government.
लाखों करोड़ रुपए की मदद देकर एमएसएमई से जुड़े करोड़ों रोजगार बचाए गए और आज ये सेक्टर नए रोजगार का तेजी से निर्माण कर रहा है। यहां तक कि रेहड़ी ठेले जैसा बहुत छोटा व्यापार कारोबार करने वाला देशवासी भी आज भारत की ग्रोथ स्टोरी से अपने आप को जुड़ा महसूस करता है।
Our correspondent reports that the summit is organized every 2 years. The first 2 summits were held in Gandhinagar in 2018 and 2020, and the current summit is now being held in Surat.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will host a Sikh delegation at his residence in New Delhi this evening. The group includes people from different walks of life. He will also address the gathering. Union Minister for Education, Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Dharmendra Pradhan, released a mandate document for the National Curriculum Framework under the National Education Policy in Bangalore today. The mandate document is a stepping stone between National Education Policy and National Curriculum Framework. The Education Minister described the mandate document as a step forward towards formation of a new national syllabus and textbooks. He informed that the curriculum for the first stage of National Curriculum Framework related to play school will be ready by the next Saraswati Puja date. Describing national education policy as a philosophy and national curriculum framework, the minister said it is a password to future that will change the destiny of this country. The minister further said national education policy is a unanimous document prepared after wide consultations. You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates Semicon India Conference 2022 in Bengaluru, says it is a collective aim to establish India as one of the key partners in global semiconductor supply chains. Prime Minister says despite COVID-19 pandemic, Indian MSME sector is doing well with the support of the government, inaugurates Global Patidar Business Summit at Surat, mandate document of National Curriculum Framework launched in Bengaluru, Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari dedicates to the nation 2 NHAI projects in Telangana. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar reaches Bhutan on the second leg of his two-nation visit, including Bangladesh. U.S. economy shrinks in the first quarter of the year, faces threats from high inflation and rising interest rates. Met Office issues orange alert for severe heat for most parts of Rajasthan and Vidarbha region of Maharashtra for the next 2 days. In Santosh Trophy football, second semi-final between Manipur and West Bengal to be played at the Payanath Stadium in Manjeri tonight. And in IPL cricket, Punjab Kings to take on Lucknow Super Giants in Pune at 7:30 this evening. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
कंपटीशन की अगर आप कर रहे हैं तैयारी तो उनके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो पर हम लाए हैं अभ्यास, एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जिसमें आप पूछेंगे सवाल व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर या फिर ईमेल करेंगे abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर और हमारे विशेषज्ञ देंगे इसका जवाब। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
Welcome back to the Midday News on All India Radio. Union Minister for Road Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari has said that the infrastructure development projects, especially highway construction works, have gained pace across the country, benefiting people at large. He was addressing a meeting after dedicating 2 national highway projects in Telangana and laying foundation stone for 17 other projects in the state. The minister said 3 lakh crore rupees will be invested to develop highways by the end of 2024. Stating that highway works are underway at a pace, Mr. Gadkari said 5 out of 26 green highway projects will go through Telangana. He added that these projects have been taken at an estimated cost of 17,000 crore rupees. Mr. Gadkari laid foundation stone for 17 highway projects and dedicated 2 completed projects to the nation at an estimated cost of 8,007 crore rupees at this juncture. The minister dedicated to the nation 2 stretches of 4-laning of National Highway number 161, Mangalore to Telangana and Ramsampalle to Mangalore. The 2 stretches have been developed for about 96 kilometers at a cost of 2,926 crore rupees. Besides, the minister laid foundation stone for 17 NHAI projects of about 364 kilometers. More than 188 crore 65 lakh COVID vaccine doses have been administered in the country so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. The Health Ministry said more than 22 lakh 80,000 doses were administered in the last 24 hours. During the same period, 3,377 new cases were reported in the country. India's active caseload currently stands at 17,801. The recovery rate is currently at 98.74%. In the last 24 hours, more than 4,73,000 tests were conducted.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is there for Bhutan for the next leg of his visit after completing his visit to Bangladesh. Foreign Secretary of Bangladesh, Masood bin Momen, saw him off in Dhaka this morning after a brief and significant visit to Bangladesh. Dr. Jaishankar arrived in Dhaka yesterday and called on Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. He later held a meeting with Bangladesh Foreign Minister Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen in Dhaka. The External Affairs Minister extended Prime Minister Narendra Modi's invitation to Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to visit India. During the meeting, both the leaders discussed issues of mutual interest as well as regional and global issues of importance. Addressing the media after the meeting, Dr. Jaishankar said that the visit was aimed at deepening the continuing engagement between the 2 countries. He said the regularity, informality and cordiality of the interactions is a very good reflection of trust and confidence between the 2 countries. The External Affairs Minister expressed happiness that trade, disbursement of loans on bilateral projects, travel services and investment are at new heights and that they have recovered the momentum which was lost during the COVID. And now let's listen to a special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
Today we remember Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh. Raja Mahendra Pratap was born into the ruling family in Hathras in 1886.
In 1914, Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh left his estate to plunge into India's struggle for independence. On the 1st of December 1915, he proclaimed the first provincial government of India outside India at the Bagh-e-Babar in Kabul. He declared himself president and his fiery fellow revolutionary Maulana Barkatullah of Bhopal as prime minister of the provincial government.
Raja Mahendra Pratap was also deeply involved with the Swadeshi movement and would constantly promote small industries with indigenous goods and local artisans. Deeply influenced by the speeches of Dada Bhai Naroji and Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Mahendra Pratap started the movement to burn foreign-made clothes.
Pratap also visited foreign countries in an attempt to obtain support for India in its struggle for freedom. In 1929, Mahendra Pratap launched the World Federation in Berlin. He was nominated for the 1932 Nobel Peace Prize. After almost 32 years in exile, Mahendra Pratap Singh finally returned to India in 1946.
In independent India, he entered Lok Sabha from Mathura in 1957. Raja Mahendra Pratap continued to work for the society till his death on the 29th of April 1979. AIR News salutes the great nationalist Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh.
We also remember the freedom fighter Gopbandhu Chaudhary from Odisha. Gopbandhu Chaudhary was born in Jagatsinghpur. After his education, he joined the British government as a deputy magistrate. After 4 years, he resigned from his post of deputy magistrate and decided to spend the rest of his life in the service of the people. Gopbandhu Chaudhary started participating in the Gandhian programs.
निजो सुख लागी जातनु है हिंदू विश्वहित हिंदू प्रतिरक्त बिंदु.
He became a member of the Odisha Congress Committee and also a permanent member of the Utkal Samilani. His most significant work in this phase of Gandhian struggle for Swaraj was the establishment of Alakashram in Jagatsinghpur in January 1922. He experimented with the Gandhian system of rural reconstruction and education in this ashram.
Jibana sikhali nirasar bali moru morichika sneha priti.
Gopbandhu became a famous leader of the civil disobedience movement and salt satyagraha. He was arrested by the British administration in April 1930 and was imprisoned till March 1931.
In 1934, Mahatma Gandhi undertook a Padyatra in Odisha. Upon Gandhiji's advice, Gopbandhu set up a base at Bari with his family and a few followers on the 13th of August 1934 and started working for people there. Gopbandhu translated Mahatma Gandhi's biography, My Experiments with Truth, into Odia, Satyara Prayog.
Post-independence, Gopbandhu became associated with the famous Bhudan movement in the 1950s. He breathed his last on the 29th of April 1958 after a long and eventful career of implementing Gandhian programs in rural Odisha. AIR News salutes the great freedom fighter Gopabandhu Chaudhary.
We also remember the martyr Indrabhushan Rai, born in 1890 in district Khulna, now in Bangladesh. Indrabhushan was a high school student when he threw a bomb on the mayor of Chandranagar in 1908. Later, he became a member of the Manikatola Garden Secret Organization and was convicted and sentenced to 10 years of imprisonment in cellular jail in 1909 for his involvement in the Alipur bomb case. Indrabhushan was tortured so much by the British authorities that he committed suicide inside the jail on the 29th of April 1912. AIR News salutes the brave son of the country.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
स्वाधीनता आंदोलन के दौरान भारतीय जनमानस को उत्प्रेरित कर स्वतंत्रता का अलख जगाने और मातृभूमि के प्रति सेवा, समर्पण और त्याग की ज्वाला प्रज्वलित कर देने वाले अमर गीतों पर आधारित विशेष कार्यक्रम आजादी के तराने सुनना न भूलें। FM गोल्ड 100.1 मेगाहर्ट्ज पर प्रत्येक शुक्रवार शाम 4:45 पर परिक्रमा कार्यक्रम के अंतर्गत आजादी के तराने आकाशवाणी पर।
The India Meteorological Department, or IMD, has issued an orange alert for severe heat in parts of Rajasthan and Vidarbha region of Maharashtra. In Rajasthan, the orange alert has been issued in 9 districts for today. Yellow alert of heat wave has also been issued in some districts. Due to the heat, the power and drinking water crisis has deepened in the state. Power cuts are being done in rural and urban areas. Our correspondent reports normal life is affected due to the scorching heat wave. In Maharashtra, the IMD indicated severe heat for Wardha, Akola, Chandrapur and Yavatmal districts of Vidarbha region for next 2 days. IMD said severe heat impact includes high temperature and increased likelihood of illness in people who are exposed to sun for a prolonged period during heavy work. It also affects vulnerable population like infants, senior citizens and people suffering from chronic illness. In view of heat wave conditions, the India Meteorological Department has also issued yellow warning for Western Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, Western UP, MP, Jharkhand for the next 3 days. Talking to AIR News, senior scientist in IMD, R.K. Jinamani said the western disturbance is advancing and thunderstorms and rainfall are likely to take place in these areas from the 2nd of next month.
Heat wave has been predominant over larger area like covering Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh and we are Jharkhand, Odisha, parts of Bengal, then also Madhya Maharashtra and Vidarbha and Madhya Pradesh. So also at some location in Gujarat. So such a large area over India, the heat wave is in the peak. Temperature most of the places 43, 44 and some stations cross also 45. This kind of condition will continue up to 1st May, from 2nd May, particularly northwest central India and Delhi and Rajasthan. Then from 2nd May, it will start falling and there is a very active western disturbance moving to the northwest and central India during 2nd to 5th. So there will be good rainfall and thunderstorm activity.
The U.S. economy shrank in the first 3 months of the year and faces threats from high inflation and rising interest rates. According to Midday reports, the first quarterly decline in gross domestic product since the pandemic hit in 2020, a 1.4% drop on an annualized basis. On the other hand, rising wages bolstered spending by households and higher profits drove investment by companies. The job market also remains robust with the unemployment rate near a 50-year low of 3.6% and wages rising steadily. Last month, prices jumped 8.5% from a year earlier, the fastest such rise in 4 decades. Army Chief General Manoj Narvane has said there has been a rise in seizure of military equipment from Afghanistan and Kashmir. He said when the previous Taliban regime was in Afghanistan in the early 2000s, the army had captured or killed Afghan terrorists in Kashmir also. General Narvane said this during the Raisina dialogue, a video of which was released yesterday. The Army Chief said while there has been no spillover of manpower so far this time, but there's definitely a movement in that direction. He said there's definitely an increase in the number of weapons and other equipment, especially night vision devices, that Army is capturing or unearthing, which definitely have come from Afghanistan. Responding to a question on the ongoing war in Ukraine, General Narvane said it has forced a rethink of certain military assumptions.
The Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying has organized the week-long Kisan Bhagidari Prathmikta Hamari campaign from 25th to 30th of this month. It has been organized as a part of ongoing celebration of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. On the fourth day of the campaign, a virtual awareness session was organized to generate mass awareness among fishers, fish farmers, livestock and dairy farmers and other stakeholders about various schemes being implemented by the centre. Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry, Dr. Tamilisai Soundararajan and Chief Minister N. Rangaswamy today inaugurated a mega health festival organized jointly by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and Puducherry Health and Family Welfare Services Department. The Mela is being organized at the spacious Old Port near Puducherry Rock Beach. Super speciality medical consultation to the common public would be given free of cost. The Mela would be open till 1st of May.
Today is International Dance Day. The Dance Committee of the International Theatre Institute, the main partner for the performing arts of UNESCO, started celebrating 29th of April as International Dance Day. It was first announced by the International Dance Council in 1982. The day also marks the birthday of the creator of the modern ballet dance form, Jean-Georges Novehay. While there is no particular time or day to celebrate dance and tap the feet on the beats, this day is special as it recognizes dancers from all over the world and joins them together for the love of art. India's first cable-stayed bridge, Anji Khad Bridge, will be complete by December this year in Riyasi district of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. This was stated by Konkan Railway's project officer Sanjay Kumar today. Situated over Anji River, the Anji Khad Bridge will connect the Katra-Riyasi section at the Udhampur-Srinagar-Baramunda route. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the 33rd Battalion of Central Reserve Police Force has organized a Bharat Darshan tour for underprivileged youth residing in far-off hilly areas of Doda district. This is part of CRPF's Civic Action Program, specially chartered for such students. Our correspondent reports that Deputy Inspector General of CRPF, Rajesh Dhakarwal, along with Doda District Development Council Chairman Dhanantar Singh Kotwal, flagged off the batch of 20 children drawn from different villages of Bhaderwa sub-division for the tour. In the Santosh Trophy Football Group B topper, Manipur will take on 32-time champion West Bengal in the second semi-final at Payanat Stadium in Manjeri tonight. The match will start at 8:30 p.m. Both teams won 3 matches each and lost 1 in the group stage before reaching the semi-final. The winning team will take on host Kerala in the final match, scheduled to be played on Monday, 2nd of May. Kerala stormed into the final, defeating Karnataka 7-3 in the semi-final at Manjeri last night. In IPL cricket, Punjab Kings will take on Lucknow Super Giants in Pune at 7:30 this evening. Last night, Delhi Capitals defeated Kolkata Knight Riders by 4 wickets at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai last night. Now let us take a look at the weather update for the day. National capital Delhi is experiencing severe heat wave. Mumbai and Kolkata are expected to have mainly clear sky. Chennai is likely to have partly cloudy sky. Visakhapatnam, Puducherry and Thiruvananthapuram will have partly cloudy sky. Guwahati and Agartala are having partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates Semicon India Conference 2022 in Bengaluru. Says it is our collective aim to establish India as one of the key partners in global semiconductor supply chains. Prime Minister says despite COVID-19 pandemic, Indian MSME sector is doing well with the support of the government. Inaugurates Global Patidar Business Summit at Surat. Mandate document of National Curriculum Framework launched in Bengaluru. Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari dedicates to the nation 2 NHAI projects in Telangana. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar reaches Bhutan on the second leg of his 2-nation visit to Bangladesh. U.S. economy shrinks in the first quarter of the year, faces threats from high inflation and rising interest rates. Met Office issues orange alert for severe heat for parts of Rajasthan and Vidarbha region of Maharashtra for next 2 days.
In Santosh Trophy football second semi-final between Manipur and West Bengal to be played at Pioneer Stadium in Manjeri tonight, and in IPL cricket, Punjab Kings to take on Lucknow Super Giants at 7:30. And with that, we end the midday news.